Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are here taking a look at Work by ATEEZ, the dance practice behind the scenes. I'm very excited for this. I could tell by the thumbnail alone, there's a good chance we're going to be looking at when they learned this, potentially with Jay Blaze, not just with their time with BB Trippin' or with San. I'm hopeful we can see all the behind the scenes action on this, but I'm very intrigued on their interaction with a choreographer like Jay Blaze. This is gonna be so dope. Can't wait to dive in. Let's get started. There's Jay Blaze. Now the studio it looks like they're at is at Me Rank Studio. A lot of celebrities use this type of rehearsal space. Now, for what? Probably like in the cases with ATEEZ, for music video shoots, for concert shoots, whatever. I'm assuming more music video. Dope. Love it. Hello, nice to meet you. I looked up that Stussy shirt. That's an expensive Stussy shirt. Because I think somebody from Stray Kids was wearing one for Lose My Breath. We don't know the first verse. So I guess the question is, did he send the demo and they only learned the course and he thought they learned more? Not quite sure. That's a huge space. Golly, it's like 20 something, like a... Cute, cute, they're so cute. Oh, he's living for this. This is so cute.
Like controlling the hands and the arms are important, yeah? See, like everything has to control.
Control. His groove goes on this track so well.
It's a lot of looks, don't get dizzy.
There's a lot of looks. Eee. Oh my god, how they're acting in this rehearsal. I've been there before. Whenever you learn choreo that just feels so good on your body, or it just feels so good to do, I act like that in class too. So I so relate to that so hard. What's also really dope too is with Jay Blaze, he has worked with a lot of people. So he has, for me, I wonder if he enjoys the fact that he's working with a group like them because they, what's the word? How excited they are. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, because when you work with pro dancers, a lot of times it's say, we're there to work. And so, yeah, you can have like a nice like cut up session, but for him, he is, I would feel in a lot of cases, used to working with dancers in not a high intense environment, but it's definitely there's a lot that is asked of him to get done and to do. And so there's more of like, you got to get it done. Like there's work to be done, right? And pun intended and not intended. So I feel like this is a subtly different type of environment than other Western artists potentially, or just kind of the dynamic. It's just subtly different, if that makes sense. I don't know how much Jay Blaze knows about ATEEZ or anything like that, so I'm not going to project on that. But I do know that he knows how to choreograph, obviously. And I really love when I say that his movement quality or his choreography for a track style like this is so fitting. Complete understatement. When I heard that Jay Blaze was on it, I was like, it's going to dig deeper into that whole little Macklemore vibe. And this is exactly what we're seeing here, which I love. I love the direction and detail he's giving. I think that's super dope. And I love it too, that little, he's like, don't get dizzy, here we go. Like, I think that's so fun. Kid in a candy shop, I love that. Yep. Nice. Shout out to Yo-san for wearing freaking like a form-fitting shirt doing this choreo. I would not feel that comfortable.
Can we just do it with music?
Do it with music. So you guys may have wondered, why did he have them face the back? It helps you get comfortable with the movement, because what ends up happening is sometimes you don't realize you do this. When you're dancing in front of the mirror and you're so used to facing the mirror when you go over something, your body's going to get conditioned in its environment with your peripherals, and you may subconsciously end up watching somebody without realizing whenever you're going over the choreo. Mirrors are meant to clean. I talked about this extensively in the La 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 behind the scenes with Stray Kids. I will talk about it here because I know they're different fan bases, but the same rule applies. You see it here. So for me, I would do the same thing of like, okay, let's go face the back. After we go over something, face the back, let's run it. So I can see how the movement is sitting in your body without you having a mirror as your reference. It does change your movement ever so slightly, which is why sometimes I end up doubling down on my personal hot take. Dance practice material or dance practice run-throughs, a lot of times I personally feel your best runs are going to happen with your choreo in the dance practice space, more so than on stage or in a music video, because of the familiarity of the environment in which you learned it. I really feel that way on a lot of my routines especially. So this is super, I love seeing it. Some stuff just never goes away. Don't fix what ain't broke. This is really cool. They got to learn this. Like they're here in America learning it. Make the arms very heavy. God, that's heavy. I'm trying to decipher what Jay Blaze means when he says heavy. So when he's saying heavy, he's not saying add weight to them, but he wants you to honestly use your back whenever you have these movements. And the usage, it's a collaboration happening with the full body. So as you go and you hit it, it's a little bit sticky of a groove, right? So whenever you go and you throw and use the back, it adds some sense of weight. Instead of just throwing with the arm, you're throwing with the fullness of your whole body. So it's going to have a little bit heavier presence involved in it. It's kind of what I'm deciphering from looking at Jay Blaze do it. That's my educated guess as to what he means by heavy, like making your arms heavy. Also notice that he's tilting in the back. He also used, you notice, a lot of sounds. So choreographers, if they ain't using counts, they using sounds like this, and a lot of sounds that don't exist in the track. They can go 1 and 2, ta-da-da, ba-da-boom, boom, boom, boom. And that's kind of like your choreographer's lingo or sound context and how their musicality is writing on the track. So that's how he's operating. It's low-key a great universal language. If they struggle with English and he struggles with Korean and we have a language barrier on any front, just use sounds can really help on musicality. What am I hitting? Boom, da da doom. So like there's like a dee 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 sounds. You think higher, boom, da da doom. You think lower. So whenever I'm using sounds, I'm trying not to sound just like the track, but sound like the type of texture I want showcased in that movement for that part of the music. Yeah. He's really, really hinging it back. It's like, here's the thing. Like, if you look at the Chaos Tour lineup, he's one of the first OG teachers on it. Lyle Benega, great example. He sits in a similar pocket just like this. It's a struggle for me to do because of how stiff it comes across a lot of times, but there's so much fullness in it, if that makes sense. It's such a niche style. I really like it. Hitting it back. And it's... Ugh. How you feel? It's like a special little group class. God, it's so cute. This room is so big. This is it. The groove is crazy. It looks like we're still going over just the chorus. And remember when I would talk about, look how happy Jay is. Oh, that's so cute. And you guys remember, with Yoonho, I've talked extensively about the stiffness of his upper back on some of the choreographies he gives. That style and how he carries himself is perfect for a style of choreo like this. Mingi stuck out. For me personally, I don't remember me personally shouting out Mingi the way that I did when I did the work choreo analysis. And I think it goes hand in hand. Both Mingi and Yoonho, how they carry themselves in their posture whenever they hit through the choreos over their discography. You can go back through my analysis that's on YouTube and on Patreon to verify this. I've talked extensively about that upper back. And you notice with Jay Blaze, how he sits in his posture is so on brand with how Yoonho and Mingi naturally do. That's why Mingi stuck out in such a freaking dope way for this choreo, and that's why it sits so well on his body, just like with Yoonho. So for me, I'm like, there's beauty to be had in having certain movement qualities that may stick out in some way in one instance and stick out in another way in another instance. It's the beauty of the craft, and it's the beauty of people have different fingerprints of movement, and this is a great way for us to celebrate the ins and the outs of how it can come across in the embellishments and ornaments of your track and your choreography. I love this niche of choreo on this group specifically for that reason alone. So cool.
Bounce in there, right? Just down. Oh, keep going. Oh, time.
Making it repeat. Drill it. He's making him drill it.
There's something else. You know what I'm saying? Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Disconnect. Disconnect. Oh, connect. Music?
Disconnect. So when he said disconnect, disconnect. So it's not, the movements are not supposed to have the same degree of force from A to B. It's a, here's your force, and it's accented. So you throw the move away. You disconnect from the move, is what he means there. So it's a dynamic vocalization, is what he talked about. So you take it, boom. You don't use the same amount of power when in your setup as you let it go. You make it look like you threw the move away, but there's still control in it. Love that. Really great way to word it. We can't see you. What did he just say? Did you hear? I mean, I'm going to have to turn it up to really listen. You can hear a side conversation going on with Jay Blaze on the side. Huh. It's fatiguing. And I wonder if that room. Okay, I get what he means. What you're doing right here is definitely something you don't get to do often. You can technically buy and take from Jay Blaze, especially when he was on the convention circuit, and he does teach class. But he is actively working in the industry immensely. With he's always busy. So a lot of times, you're gonna get some choreographers that are always busy working. They're working with artists. They're on tour. They're doing Broadway shows, movies, things like that. So when they do a pop-up workshop, those do come fewer and fewer the busier the choreographer is. Now, I don't know at the top of my head, because I'm operating from like 2021, 2022 lens here. When was it? When's the last time I went to Chaos? I mean, I don't remember. But my point is that I do remember the last time I had seen Jay Blaze was during his time on that circuit. So that's where I'm operating from. But maybe I need to stay in the know and see what all these cats are up to nowadays so I can feel like I can contribute more effectively to these behind the scenes. But I'm having a lot of fun watching this. Okay, so I just went ahead and dived on Jay Blaze's Instagram. So here's what he's been up to. So, I mean, if we're basically what I had just talked about is kind of where he's at as a choreographer. He danced for Usher with Super Bowl. He also, and he has done work with Usher back like in 2011 for Grammy. So like he's had experience with Usher, but doing Super Bowl, it always hits different when you do a Super Bowl something with somebody. It's dope. And then he has something called Henny Sessions, which is kind of like, it's a series of, just a series that showcases different artists in its rawest form. It's basically just an environment setter for trying to bring back the good old days of dance. It's kind of the best way to kind of round it up. Also, it is shot at the Garage, where if you've seen La Serafim's Easy, I did an analysis on their Garage version that Isabel choreographed for, right? So that's the location in which Henny Sessions takes place. He's in charge of that. So he is a very busy man, and so I think it's super dope that he's doing this, because right now I think he's on tour with was it Travis Colbert or somebody like that? Like he's on tour right now. He's also done stuff for Chris Brown, you know, what was it, Justin Bieber, just a wide range of individuals, which I think is really cool. I think it's fun, and he's known as a dude with a great pocket, like in the sense of his groove. It's cool. His background is Caribbean, really dope. So all that to say, he's a busy man, and he's in the position where, I mean, technically Seonghwa is not wrong in what he's saying, because it is difficult to get in a class with Jay Blaze, because he does not hold classes very often at this point, because he is always busy. So yes, cool, super cool. 지금 he said, I don't care.
Yeah, we all love the second chorus too, like this one.
The patty cake dance.
What was your favorite part? Oh yeah.
Who's that?
It's hard. When you think of a groove right away, I know it's a hit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I heard every pocket. This song kind of takes you on a roller coaster.
Woo! Yeah.
연습 때로 돌아간 것 같은 느낌. 아직도 영상 보고 있는 것 같고 좀 신기합니다. 그래서 저희 안무를 이제 같이 하게 되니까 새로운 연습 때 많이 이제 보고 땄었던
Really?
옛날 생각도 많이 나요. 미국 연습 때로 돌아간 거. 되게 잘 나오나? 오늘 파이팅 해보겠습니다.
So he said, Jay Blaze said that his favorite part was Seonghwa's section. Seonghwa's verse, I would have to, I mean, is that my favorite part? I don't know if I have like a favorite part. I just love all of it. I like the entire choreography from start to finish. It's so dope. I think my favorite part, honestly, is the bridge where you have, I think it's San to Yoonho to Jongho, where they switch out right before his Jongho's high note. I love that. I just like the logistics of that formation structure. It's cool. It just feels so good. But I totally see why Jay Blaze is like, ooh, this is it. And notice what he said. He said, I know it's going to be good if it's so easy to find what pockets there are. Not easy in like, it's simple or it's predictable. It makes you do this, right? Like it makes you feel like you want to sit in it, if that makes sense. It's kind of what he was talking about. And so in his case, I think he enjoyed the choreography, or it was easier for him to choreograph to it because he had a sense of like he was able to enjoy the track to choreograph to, because it was on par or on brand for how he operates as an artist anyway. Like that's right up his alley. And so normally when you're given a track that just is so up your alley, you tend to be more receptive to the process, and a lot of your choices just feel so organic, if that kind of makes sense. It's fun. So I think it's so cool that Yoonho's like, we used to watch him on video, now seeing him in person, it feels like we're back in our trainee days. I mean, now knowing, I mean, it kind of validates what I said earlier. I can low-key see, I know that both Mingi and Yoonho, somebody told me, they went to the same, they were trained under the same art, like dance direction, right? I don't know if it was at school or academy or something, but they trained similarly in that regard. Both of them did. And so it makes sense though, if they had an admiration for somebody like Jay Blaze, they're naturally going to adopt the fingerprints that he presents anyway. So I think that's super cool. Super cool that they're able to experience this. The song. Oh, look at that.
We have this movie. This is the highlight. This is the first song. Really? Say my name. Yeah, that song is the first song.
자리가 셀마님 안무에도 참여하셨어요.
Did he?
그래가지고 인연이 깊습니다.
That's cool. You know, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, because Anjay also has ties to Chris Brown too. So they have an overlapping. That doesn't surprise me at all because the connections of that time period versus what the choreographers or the dancers were doing, that makes total sense. Okay. I didn't know Jay Blaze was on that.
It's like
Does this mean we're gonna have...
get on my face, man.
What? I'm happy with that. Oh. Do we get to see Jay Blaze do his groove? Come on. We're ready for it. Gotta work. Get my face. That's cute. That's cute. Oh. How he did that just then. Feels like you spot. I get it. Honestly, I think that's my favorite part of this whole video is we get to see Jay Blaze to this move right here. I said it since I saw the music video and I knew who choreographed it. This was Jay Blaze right here. And it's so nice to see him do it because it is such a pocket. Free, free, free. Sa, sa, sa. So he wants it to be tension and then you pull it really quickly. Nice. Oh my God, they're so happy. Oh my God, I'm so happy for them. I have been there when you get to take from someone that you admire and they are giving you something that feels so, like it's a challenge, but it's just like your body wants to absorb every nook and cranny of it. That makes me so happy to see them happy learning this. We have to take a picture. Of course. That's so cute! That's so fun! Oh my gosh! Wow. Wow! Oh.
아 진짜 너무 재밌어요. 진짜 너무 재밌고 오랜만에 이렇게 하면서 뭔가 좀 끌어올랐던 게 진짜
Oh my gosh.
배우기 정말 잘한 것 같고 뭔가 앞으로의 댄스 경륜에 대해서 좀 더
Okay, so I'm low-key getting a little emotional right now because seeing specifically Yoonho and San be so like so happy to be going over choreo, that reminds me so much. What was it? So I have learned hundreds of dances online. Especially over the past couple of years. That's definitely something that I have a lot of confidence in, is learning through an online dance tutorial. That for sure. And it's whenever you learn choreography or you make dance your work, right? Or it's part of your work, it does get harder to be in these positions, to be able to be in a space and enjoy and receive choreography or learn choreography that just feels so good, or you just love how it looks and you get to learn it and your body just absorbs it, right? Or just the space and the environment of getting to learn from somebody that you respect and you're just all about it, right? I would say in person, the last time I felt that way about an in-person class was in Nashville in 2021. I forgot what year it was. We were wearing masks though, so it was around that time period. And I remember what meant a lot to me was the choreo that we learned was to Stupid Deep by John Bellion. And the choreo matched the track pretty decently, but it was the fact that the teacher, he was stepping out of his comfort zone to teach something like that, but he technically stepped into my comfort zone. And so it wasn't the choreographer that I was like, oh my gosh, I want to learn from. It was the track that he chose and the choreography he chose to do to it. And I ended up crying on camera. It's actually on Instagram if you want to dig and look for it. But I was crying while I was doing the class because that was the first time I got to dance next to my own students as equals in the dance space. That is a really big, that's a really big important moment for me. Yeah. So that was like my last in-person feeling that I felt in that way, just at the top of my head. And then when it comes to online, honestly, I think it was advice by Taemin. When I learned that choreography, it felt so good on my body. And it hits different. The more movement quality you're exposed to, you find out the styles that you like and you want to dive into. And as a choreographer, it does get hard sometimes to look at choreography and like enjoy learning it, if that makes sense, as a choreographer, because you enter into a headspace sometimes of I don't know how my body feels doing this movement to this part of the music because I would make a different choice. And so your body is conditioned to make different choices to those parts of the music. Does that kind of make sense? It's interesting. So in Jay Blaze's case, in full honesty, his movement quality, I think is dope. But the type of tracks that he normally choreographs for, I'm kind of indifferent to myself. It's not the genres I normally like dive into extensively. However, seeing his movement quality, like I've said multiple times, and I will say it one final time here, on this track, works like it's like melted butter on a baked potato. It's just, it fits, it works, it is, butter on a waffle. It is killer to me, And so I love the fact that the connection runs deep. For them to be able to be like, I was a trainee and now we're sitting here. It takes me back to my trainee days. That to me is the equivalence of it takes me back to the process. It doesn't take me back to the work of it. It takes me to the joy of it, is what I hear when I hear that. So this I got really, really emotional pretty quickly when I just saw how happy they were, because that doesn't happen as often as you think it does, especially the more busy you are with using dance as your line of work. It is hard to find those moments. So I am so happy that we got to capture that and we got to talk about it together. That is amazing.
이렇게 알 수 있는 계기가 되지 않아. 그죠, 현지?
네. 진짜 오늘 저희가 몰랐던 그런 디테일들이 너무 많아가지고 진짜 유용한 시간이었고, 또 연습 때부터 약간 영상으로만 봤던 그런 지안이와 함께 이렇게 안무를 같이 하니까 되게 영광이네요.
기억나요?
네.
기억나요?
뭐요?
형이랑 나랑 무반이었을 때 3명이서 같이 레이지 안무로
Yeah, flex on him. Flex on him. He's been in the game a long time. He's been working for a long time.
저는 여기 3,500원짜리 똑같은. 오늘 정말 재밌었죠, 성원 씨?
보는 것과는 많이 다르고.
That hat, that Song was wearing. is not a $3.90 hat.
저희가 오늘 배운 걸 토대로 열심히 확실하게 말할 수 있어요. 진짜 이 안무는 획을 그릴 거예요. 제가 진짜로 연습을 한 500번 봤을 거예요. 정말 산이가 그 정도로 진짜 연습을 많이 했는데 확실히 달라. 맞아. 진짜 배워야 돼요. 어머님 오늘 레슨 그래도 마무리하도록 하겠습니다. 하나, 둘, 셋.
처음부터 해놔요? 처음부터 하고 너네 그 익숙해지는 게 먼저 한 것 같아. 우리 어제 수정한 소대로. 할게요 여러분들. 막주야 세팅 중입니다.
내 걸로 이제?
아 했잖아. 됐잖아. 나왔어요. 안녕하세요.
안녕하세요. What shoes is that boy wearing right now? Sometimes when people wear shoes in rehearsal, I'm like, how can you dance in those? I could never. What Yosang is wearing. Oh, they're tennis shoes. Okay. There's some slippers. Like, there's slippers that look just like those. So I was thinking he was showing up in, like, Crocs and sports mode looking shoes. But no. We doing okay. He wearing some tennies. He can stay. He can stay. Oh, you know what? I missed the beginning of this conversation because I was too busy looking at his shoes. I am so sorry. So collisions keeps happening, right? Get out of it. Son. They're gonna have to start with the... Okay, they're going through the formations and they're trying to figure out what's going on with the lines. It's because the arms. Yep. Are most facing the side. Yep. Okay, so what they just talked about right there is they're talking about the torsos. And I've talked about this whenever you clean choreo, which is exactly what my guy right here, I'm assuming he's a BB Trippin' guy. Whenever you're cleaning choreo, you have to talk about stuff like that, especially if it's contributing to a transition. Because this collision, the reason why it's happening, which is what they've said, is that you got two lines going on. What's happening is that there's not just a torso, but there's an arm extension. And what's happening is Wooyoung cannot extend his arm at all because Jungho will get hit with it if the transition happens as is. And he's saying that the direction, half of them, like one line is having their body straight. And by having your body straight facing the side with your arms, it's going to be a different angle than those that are coming at it from more of like a diagonal. The look not only looks different, but the logistics of the transition, the amount of space that you're given in between each member is going to be affected as well. Hence why it's important to talk about in this context. So I'm glad they're bringing this stuff up because you deal with this. This is the not glamorous stuff of dance, but man, is it my favorite thing to talk about because this is the most close to home what I do for a living as anything that I will ever watch on YouTube is stuff like this. And I feel so seen as a cleaner, as a choreographer, as somebody who has to do this with dancers very often, whether it's a soloist, your staging matters. When you deal with a large group, a group of 8, like with any group, you're going to have to navigate through this in some way, shape, or form, whether you want to or not. It is the blessing and the curse of being the choreographer and the cleaner of your own routines. Whoo, boy, howdy. I wonder, can we do this part one more time? I wonder if they're going to change the transition timing. That'll work. Boom, hit, boom, 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 hit, hit, hit. If I go like this. Who just said that? Hold on, let me watch him. My subtitles are in the way. I'm so sorry. Gotta work. Hey, gotta make that money make purse. Jungho, he said if I do it, If I go like this, we won't bump into each other. I'm assuming he's not doing any arms at all, is what my gut tells me. He's means. We just need to do it the right way we did it just now. He just asked the question, why did that, but with the actual choreo, I don't know what's different. Why did that happen before? Could be a couple different reasons. This is something that I've noticed whenever you bring outside choreographers, and we can relate it to this. They learned this with Jay Blaze. So how they learned it with him, it's going to sit very specifically. When you start the cleaning process, there's certain things that your body implicitly holds on to and lets go of. So in the context with my dancers that I work with in the studio scene, a lot of them have a heavy background in jazz, ballet, a very different posture that they hold themselves in comparison to more of a grungy full outfit. This type of choreo would be something that they would have to explicitly really try to navigate through, because it is a different pocket than what they're used to for themselves in their day-to-day learning. And that's the beauty and the fun of learning dance, right? Is we get to continue to be a student of other people's slang movement or quality of movement. It's, gosh, such a fun thing to talk about. But what has probably happened is, yes, they've been together for a very long time, but they all process information probably subtly differently even now. So a lot of choices and how they remember choices being placed in their body is going to sit different with each one. So what ends up happening is, just like one line was going more side and one line was going more diagonal, that can be a peripheral choice that was made when you're looking in the mirror and you're trying to copy subconsciously the person next to you that's doing the same thing. Those are subtle things that end up happening. Not only that, you end up with that type of logistic, if your focus is on the hands, and some people remember different things. So some people are going to remember what happens in the torso more so than the extremities, and others the opposite. So for my studio dancers, they're going to remember the extremities way more than what the pocket or the groove is going to be in the torso, because their body is already locked up and set in its ways whenever they're just implicitly going on autopilot, if that kind of makes sense. So I can see why this happens. This happens to everyone all the time. It's going to happen all the time. And that's life, especially when you have other people going in and looking at it, and you have outside choreographers coming in, they set choreo, they leave, you have somebody else coming in and clean it. Yes, BB Trippin's on the track too, but the fact that like they're looking at it, they're different eyes than Jay Blaze, so they're going to talk about different things, and they have a different relationship too. So I think that would be my initial guesses as to why they had those subtle discrepancies, and it then became a traffic pattern, because sometimes traffic patterns don't turn into those issues until you're cleaning choreo, and then by cleaning something you're realizing something else is off. It happens. That's life. But we got to figure it out. They're marking it right here.
이거 저인 것 같은데 원래는 착 치고 여기 써야 되는데 여기서 출발하면 동선이 겹쳐가지고 살짝
Yeah.
이거를 한번 해보면
I think I talked about this exact transition in their analysis.
미안해, 한 번만 더 해볼 건데 이번에 여상이가 민기 자리였어.
Yosang aligned with Mingi's spot. Okay, if he's talking about aligning, I use the term mirroring in my analysis. So if he said, Yosang, align yourself with Mingi, he's talking about make your depth in your spot in the formation match the same spacing that you see Mingi have. Do you see that? So now they're equal in their center. Cool. I love also learning how different people say the same information in different ways. There's so much beauty to be had in that. That's so cool. Yep, cool. That was dope. He has room now too.
천천히 하나씩 밟아볼게. 6, 7, 8.
Bon, ding, 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 ding. So they're gonna drop the level, or they're gonna expand out. The first lunge from here. Does he have a back tat, Wooyoung? They said it'll be harder for Yosang. Let me go back. I've never had to go back so much to look at logistics because I've never seen a dance practice behind like this where they're actually showing you all the troubleshooting. Oh my god, I'm having so much fun. Okay, let's go back. Also, when you notice Yosang right there too in this transition, he does low-key stick out a smidge in his transition. It feels like he has to travel further than everybody else. Doon cha-cha, gung chak-chak. Oh, duh. It's because it's his part. That makes sense. No wonder it didn't bother me because normally I would catch something like that. If it's like, if he was just not featured and he's moving like that, that would catch us off guard, right? And I know that was like a really big thing with the Heya by IVE, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about if you've seen that, you know what I mean. But he was the feature there, hence why it didn't bother me at all because he was inserting himself into the formation. That's why they said it would make it more uncomfortable for him because that would be further for him to travel. And based on how he's getting into his spot, cha-cha, boom, cha-cha, they cut. No. Okay, notice he's not technically turning all the way to the back to walk to his spot. That's what makes it hard. Because if he's able to turn and actually go to his spot, and I've talked about this, there's two different ways a lot of times people transition. There's the fixed way where everybody's fixed a particular like direction and they're moving and they can move anywhere in the space, but their body silhouette is the exact same to the viewer that's watching. And then there's I gotta get to my spot transition where everyone's moving to their respective spots regardless if they're looking front or not. So in the case of Yosang, he's doing a hybrid where he's turning to try to get to his spot, but not to where he's not letting his head be in the front where he's singing and still being featured. So they do make a very valid point. He technically doesn't really know where they're going to be set up. So he kind of has to guesstimate that because he can't look behind him. So when they're saying it's going to make it harder on him, it's because that's going to be further for him to have to try to memorize, oh, we got to set it up back here. He has further to travel blindly, if that makes sense in your transition, because he can't look. Push the line further back. Cool. But cancel. Yosang said push it back. I love the consideration. Yosang said I can handle it. That's cute. Did you hear it? Oh my god. So the teacher, so Mimi said, can we do it like this? And the teacher said, that's the choreo. You have no idea how many times that ends up happening because sometimes you learn it and then the dancers remember it in a different way. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I have an idea. I kid you not. I get this all the time. Like, I have an idea. Can we, Miss Jess, can we do this? And I said, that's how it's supposed to be done. And then we all laugh about it and then we move on. So that is a really, really fun, really funny moment that even if you're a professional in the sense like this, like in the niche of K-pop, just still deal with it. God, it never goes away. See, look at that. That was so petty of everybody to do that. That's so funny. Oh my god, that's so funny. I can't believe that happened. That's funny.
맞잖아. 이렇게 가보자. 아래로? 그리고 윤호가 이렇게 머리 하면 돼. 7, 8, 10.
Ooh, okay. I like that modification. Yeah. I love the fact they added it in. Why is that? It naturally had us clock Yoonho because of his direction change as well as his arm elevation. And I talk about that a lot. And I appreciate the fact they were intentional about it to where he still matched the vibe of the pocket that's being explored. And he said, like the original choreography, made it clean, which is what it is an element, it's a skill set that is not required but highly suggested in the K-pop scene, which we all know and love, which is why we're here, right? But like having a clean routine helps us showcase the concept effectively. But you don't have to have every nook and cranny of the routine clean, just the extremities. And if you're all supposed to hit a certain dynamic collectively, those types of things you want to prioritize to be cleaner, right? So I like seeing the teacher talk about that.
윤호가 혹시 낙산 한 번만 오케이 얘가 맞춰서 Gotta make that money make her
Look at San going all zika-zi-ah on him. Okay. You are. Yep. There's a lot of things to deal with. Yeah, a lot of details. That was funny. Like that, but it's just humorous enough. I don't think they didn't go with that though. Just for the fun of it. That's funny. Yep. Okay, let's talk about that. So that whole little situation it reminds me of whenever I'm in a position similar to who I'm assuming BB Trippin teacher is in here, which, side note, whenever I talk about it inside 17, we love our performance director. I think she's my new hero. I freaking love her. I think it is incredible, and I'm excited every time I hear her voice. I'm like, is that my favorite person? So she's awesome. BB Trippin, they're in the same role here. You notice every group that you guys love has somebody in this role. This is such an unsung hero position that I'm here to go up to bat for as somebody who is in this position with a lot of studios. So there's so much reward that comes into this position for two reasons. Firstly, it allows you to build a relationship with the members of whatever routine. So like whether in the K-pop scene, it's with the group, it's building a respect on both sides, right? The second thing is it allows you the opportunity to cultivate and set up how you want them to show up and be set up for success on stage. Like you have some jurisdiction there in that sense. So what I mean by that is, for an example, using the situation that just happened, I have to do that pretty often because when you have outside choreographers that come in, we do have a couple that come in that set up bulk choreo, and there's always, with some of their isms, there's usually a chunk of choreo that's just straight content. It's all unison. There really isn't a lot of dynamics in it that needs to be beefed up. And what I mean by beefed up is we got to add more levels or add dynamics or make modifications based on who's able to get the choreography and who is not able to get it. Because some people, whenever you get a group, they have varying skill sets of competency of the style that they're competing with. So in this case, some of our members have certain niches that they're really good at, and some where it's more of a weakness. In this sense, though, they're a bit more equal in the unison section because of just they've lived life together for so long. They're naturally going to catch up in that sense. Hard work and perseverance help do that. Natural talent does give you a leg up, but perseverance and grit is what a lot of times will beat natural talent through and through. There's literature on that. Go be curious about it. But going back to this, where you have varying skill levels, and you don't have the amount of time to live life this long to get everybody on the same page to do a choreo. You sometimes have to modify. You have to put people in different places. The spacing has to be different. You have to think about levels. You have to think about different entrances and exits in your transitions, because sometimes you have awkward transitions. Like in the case, Sunghwa's section was awkward, and so they needed to figure out, we needed to make their features have an interaction that's complementary to the track. They didn't want it too humorous. Like the limbo is really funny. Honestly, I think it could have low-key worked. But the swinging, for me, it ties very much so into the door swing of like a saloon that we ended up seeing in the music video. So I actually liked that reference a lot. And so cleaners or people who are in the position, like performance directors like this, they have a really cool position of they get to audit and make changes, which is technically how I analyze choreography. Is that's what I'm doing, as I'm telling you all the things that if I was then sitting in this room, I would look at and say, here's the style that we're doing. This would be my modification, or this would be my suggestion if I was in the room and that looked off to me, if I'm being real. Like, because I do that all the time. And so going back to my original point, I think it's so fun that they even included something like that, because we deal with that a lot of times. There's an awkward formation choice. There's an awkward level. There's one person's being featured, but we don't see them being featured. So you notice they added a modification to Yoonho in order for him to be showcased, but not take away from what he's currently set up to do physically. So that's the importance of the role that my BB Tripping guy has, that a lot of people do not give people enough credit for. Part of it could be because we do not have nearly as much content like this as we do just the perfected dance practices or the dancing. And I'm hopeful that more groups will have more footage like this, so we can really celebrate the village it takes to make a group successful, not just the members themselves. It's so cool. So cool. He just corrected Hongjoon's posture on that section. Dope. That was better. Oh my god, thank you. Yeah, so notice what he just did. He shrugged his shoulders. That's something I was noticing with Hongjoon in this rehearsal, is how he hits it, is he does a little head ISO, and I talked about it in some of his choices, where he set up a head ISO before he promoted it up. I think that's just an ism that he does, and the teacher caught it, and he says here, and what ended up happening is when he's doing these grooves, it looks too smush, or it looks too muddled right here, too muted, and so he just told him, and he corrected Hongjoon to try to alleviate this. Yes, to him. Keep him around. Give him a golden sticker. Yes. Should we do it properly? Meaning, he means full out. Properly. Because they've been marking it most of this time. They weren't doing this full out. See? Yep. Let's do the markings all together. Go hard. Those who want to rest and those who want to organize, do so. And then record. Okay, so I don't know if I've ever described to you, if this is your first video with me, welcome, what marking versus full out means. So marking means that you're doing it for the logistics of the spacing, the staging, to get all of the details in, but you're not going full out in performance. And there is a place for that. They're going over logistics, make sure they didn't lose or misplace any details, or they made sure they covered everything. That's what marking's for, without killing you. Then they said, okay, we're going to do that, and then those who want to keep doing it can, and then we're going to do it full out, and then we're going to mark it, and then we're going to film it. So marking meaning make sure we get everything clarified, and then we're going to film it. Filming means full the freak out the way that you would want it to be seen in the music video, in the dance practice, like, because we all know the dance practices are kind of their own niche of cinematic quality. People are going to look at those with the expectation of it being like the top tier, best choreographic run you're going to see of that routine, if that kind of makes sense. So dope. So this is a mark right here. Let's see who actually marks. Some of them are slipping and sliding. They're filming it here. Da 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 da. No, 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 no. I love Hongjoon's pants. Yeah. It is solely because of the pocket they are doing it in that makes it so hard. Oh. Ooh, that's gonna trip him up. Trip him up. Ooh! Okay, you guys, I don't know if you guys noticed, there is a subtle difference. The first time when yes, it goes on the word yes. The second time, da da da, boom, boom. So it goes, gotta work, da da da, make, I think it's make money or make purse. It goes before yes. Make purse. So make purse. So the first one goes on yes. The second one goes on make purse. So if he asked me, how do I remember the timing between the two? I would give him actual verbal cues. Well, it also depends on his type of learner. I don't know what type of learner he is. Learning in this process here, it does feel kinesthetic. He's a driller, is what this says. You're gonna, meaning like just going over it over and over and over again. I am that way, and eventually it just becomes a part of your natural quality of movement. I'm here for it, but this whole part, the first one, yes. The second one, purse. Make purse. Cool. Dope. Dope. Use your whole body. I love that Jay Blaze said it's like there's a spider. They embody that very well. Hey. You see that tongue stick out? Hey. All this choreo, when you see Mingi do it in the work dance practice, He looks more natural than how he looks here. Part of it could be the fit that he's wearing. Outfits do influence how something can come across. Or it could be just the stage of how it's settling in his body. But he looks way more comfortable in the dance practice that I analyzed than what we see here. Look at them getting it on the first try. Way to go, guys. I kind of like the habit. This is just a little side note that I'm learning and being inspired by watching these behind the scenes or watching the dance practices where you end up hearing the track and then it repeats. I think that's a really good way to train people. Hold your pose until you don't hold it anymore, right? So because you wait until that song repeats so you know it's done. That's a really good, it's something that makes sense. I've just never really implemented it, or it's been a hot minute since I've implemented it in the cleaning process as much. Like I don't think about that as much. Maybe I need to bring that back. So this is inspiring for me. I like it. Because it teaches you to hold your pose until a blackout, until it is done. Bum, bum, da, 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 da. Because it's on the offbeat. But you want to do this. You want to do this. Ready? So you go. Ba da ba ba da 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 da. Ba da 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 da. It's the opposite. They're hitting it on the offbeat, which is what makes the pocket so freaking filthy, which is probably why Jay Blaze likes it. Because he goes da 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 da. I'm like, come on. Like that is so dope. But it also makes sense why they're slightly confused. Oh, it's polyrhythmic too. Oh my god. That is so polyrhythmic for Seonghwa. Oh my god. Yeah, because he's going da 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 da. That is really hard. Da 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 Tokyo. But ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Da 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 da. Yeah, do it for Seonghwa. He needs to drill that. That's hard. Ooh, you see how quick he has to start it? Sheesh. Now really over. Oof. Oof, guys, as you can tell, I had a ton of fun watching this. I think this video is about as long as their analysis video, and those are long. So I am here for this. I hope they continue to do these because I know a lot of you guys, I've heard from a lot of you that you prefer me looking at these behind the scenes because of what I look at or what I'm focusing on these, because this is, like I've mentioned, way closer to my line of work specifically than whenever we're looking at just K-pop dance analysis. You're just seeing me use my skill set that I do in work applied to a video because I've had to look at videos and choreography online for adjudication processes sometimes, for training sometimes, for just enhancing and being curious about appreciating art in different ways. Just online really helps promote access to that. But I really do like looking at this one. This one was probably one of my favorite behind the scenes of any behind the scenes I've taken a look at in general, just because of the things we were able to talk about. This was so freaking fun. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch all of this. I hope I was helpful in some way. If you are also a choreographer, I hope you related to this hard like I did too, because I had a lot of fun. Just being able to see Jay Blaze's interaction, low-key catching up on what he's up to. The man is working. He's working, which definitely has an empathetic choreographic lens onto the track because ATEEZ is working and even their choreographer is just as busy. And I think that is so cool. And if you guys want to see my analysis to work, I have that released on YouTube. But like I've said, I've marathoned ATEEZ from their pre-debut up until their most recent work. So I've seen pretty much their movement quality progression over the years they've been together, which I have absolutely loved. I still think they're definitely one of the top most improved groups I think I've seen in my marathon format. And if you want to see, if you notice there's a particular track that you want me to look at and it's not on YouTube, good chance it's on Patreon. So you can go hang out over there and see what it's all about if you want to do that, or you can wait it out and things like that. Once again, my name is Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.